Okay.
And it's done.
He said
We
attendance
got
is
the
done.
meet. Okay. Any public comment? You got the attendance?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How about public comment? Anybody here for public comment?
Yes, there is. If anyone would like to speak, please raise your hand electronically and I will unmute you. First person we have is Carson Coyle. Carson, you can unmute?
Hi, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Carson Coyle. I'm here in my capacity as Vice Commodore for the Sprite Island Yacht Club. I don't have I have a public link. I don't believe I have the link to speak later in the meeting, but I was hoping that when we discuss the COP for the Sprite Island Yacht Club for the mooring field, that I could have an opportunity to comment on behalf of the club.
All right.
Yes, we can certainly move you over or unmute you at that time, or move you over as a panelist.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay, and Carson, I'll just leave you unmuted so you can unmute when you're ready. Next person we have is Jeffrey Sparr.
Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can hear you, Jeff.
Hey, first of all, Joe, I voted for you for sheriff.
You're the man. Wrong party, I guess.
I wanted to offer my services to act sometimes if you need to go between your August Commission and Sprite Island Yacht Club. I'm on the board of directors for that, and I stepped up and volunteered, or maybe everybody else stepped backwards to be on the mooring committee from last year. And what our goal for that was, we wanted to make sure that all the boats were properly registered, and that we're conducting annual inspections of the mooring gear. When we take it out, we do an inspection. I also make sure that they all have insurance. So that's a good thing. And then as the season starts, those that have had problems with the mooring gear, we'll alert them ahead of time so they can make any necessary repairs. So that's the way that I'm involved in it. I know Matt Gifford, who's also on the Harbor Management Commission, is also with me on the mooring committee at Sprite Island. So I wanted to offer my services. If you ever need to get in contact with somebody swiftly, you can use me. I had gotten a call from Carson today. He was had just found out, I guess, coincidentally, that there was a matter from Sprite Island going to be on the agenda for today. And so I said that I would look into it. And Steve, you were very kind to get back to me. I appreciate that. So thank you so much for being so swift and getting back to me. So it was just kind of caught everybody by surprise. I know, Steve, you'd said that as far as the questioning of the notice and the posting, I went on line to look at the Harbor Management Commission, and you're 100% correct that on their agenda for the November 17th meeting, there was the matter of the Sprite Island application. Unfortunately, the minutes of that meeting have never been posted online. So if someone like ourselves who weren't at that meeting, or at least myself, I can only speak for myself, there would be no way for us to go back and look at the minutes to see what had happened, that the Harbor Commission had passed it on to the Shellfish Commission for some commentary. So I just wanted to let you know that wasn't posted. And then the only clarification I had was, so Steve, thank you again. You said that you're going to solicit commentary from the fishermen, and I, as a Norwalk native and someone who loves the water, I think it's a good idea. So I support that. My question is, did you solicit the commentary already, or are they supposed to be coming tonight to give comment?
So we did solicit the commentary. We basically assigned ourselves various companies. The gentleman who I spoke with did not have a comment on Sprite Island. His was for Norwalk Yacht Club.
Okay. All right. So that's the only thing I wanted to offer my services to act as a go-between. So thank you so much for doing this. It's important.
Well, we're getting hold of the companies that your moorings on their grounds. And I've talked to a couple of them, and they just explained to me that there was an agreement made years ago.
Yes, that's true.
And they don't want to change the agreement, because if you leave the moorings, then they can't use the fields. and it's their own grounds. They own them. Or
You're
they're
saying that, I'm sorry, you're saying that they want us to remove the moorings?
in the spring, yes.
Yeah, that is what we do. And I don't know if we want to get into this now. We can talk about it later. I don't want to take up the whole public comment, but we do follow all that. I actually have the original permission letters from the different companies.
Yeah.
I'm happy to speak to all that. So
Oh, okay. So they're under the inclination that you want to keep them in year round.
absolutely not.
Oh,
They
okay.
go in usually around May sometime, and they're out by early October.
Right.
That has always been our standard practice, and that is part of the COPs. We're going to continue that.
Oh, okay.
There is another hand up, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, Mr. Moderator.
Next, we have Beth Kenny.
Hi, I'm here on behalf of Norwalk Yacht Club, and I'm happy to answer any questions when it is our agenda item time.
Okay.
All right, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to ask them. To clarify, since you brought it up, we are not looking to keep moorings in anywhere where there are shellfish beds, which we were pretty clear about. It's just areas where there are not shellfish beds. We have yet to get permission to put moorings in where the shellfish beds are. So at this point, we just are looking for the same thing that Rowayton Yacht Club requested.
Well, there's natural beds there too, so. If you're looking to add on moorings, you have to check with, because we have natural beds there too that in the spring, they start, when you pull your moorings. I should say in the fall, when you pull their moorings, they start going seed oystering in that area.
Right, so can you hear me? I don't know if I was.
I can hear you.
We can pull the moorings that are on the public areas, as will Rowayton. I'm sure you had a conversation with Rowayton Yacht Club as well for the same thing, correct? You had the discussion with them as well?
Not yet.
Yeah, because they had, they were not put on, they were not tabled. They were just moved right along, and they're asking for the same thing we're asking for. So I'm sure we'll all be handled in the same way.
Hmm.
So if you can, we should really do this probably during the agenda. I didn't mean to get off agenda, so I'll wait my turn and answer whatever questions you have. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
No, there's no one else.
Okay, how about approval of the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I hear a second?
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we have a treasurer's report. We don't, because our treasurer is a policeman, and he's, I guess with 33 policemen out, they have to work a lot of more time than they really want to. I think it's mandatory now. How about secretary's report?
Happy to have commentary in new and old. Thank you.
Okay, let's do the committee reports. Health Department.
Sure. Rainfall for the month of November was 1.16. Typically in November, it's 5.22, or it was, I'm sorry, 5.22 last year. And on average, it's 3.59. We had one closure on November 13th due to rainfall. There were no reported bypasses.
Oh, that's good. That's it?
That's it. I do have the police report when it's time, just so you know.
Okay. Wastewater treatment, they never show up, so. Water quality, I guess they're off today. Permits, that has to do with our treasurer's report. Police, okay.
Yeah, I got this from Peter earlier, so I'll just read it verbatim. So good afternoon, Bill. The Marine unit had 10 hours of shellfish patrol / enforcement of the beaches, shoreline, and 2 trips out in the harbor master boat. No recreational shellfishing was observed. It seems that there is less activity on the beaches since LA parking has taken over the parking. There are no commercial issues or complaints. That's the end.
Okay. Advisory, who knows the water temperature? The biggest problem we have is the oystermen, most of them don't know how to Zoom. Don't even know how to get a computer on.
Kramer does.
Huh?
Kramer can get on a computer.
Yeah, he's the only one. Dougie can't. Dave Hop can't. Norman can't. Their kids could. We probably should start asking the kids to start Zooming. Okay, harbor management, John?
Yeah, hi, guys. I guess everybody's heard at this point that our harbor master is leaving the area. So we're in the process of dealing with that and onboarding a new harbor master and looking for a new deputy. Peter's put his name into the ring, and I'm personally going to support Pete for deputy harbor master. We've got state of Connecticut issues when we talked about turbidity and water monitoring, and I'm going to let Jeff chime in on that to bring us up to speed to where we're at and what our next course of action will be. Jeff?
Regarding the Walk Bridge project, we started reviewing this, the Harbor Commission did in January of 2015. So it's been a long process, and the commission, I think members have spent, so what's that, 7 years. And some of us have spent time every day trying to review that project and do it in a fair way to protect the public's interest in Norwalk Harbor. And so the process now is at the point where DEEP, of course, DEEP needs to issue a permit along with the Corps of Engineers and the Coast Guard for the work. But we've been involved with that DEEP permit process again for several years. And now it's to the point where DEEP has issued a public notice of what it calls its tentative determination to approve the DOT's plans for the replacement of the bridge as those plans affect the harbor. And it was issued a little bit before the public notice, a little bit before Thanksgiving, and the public comment period is up at the end of the year. I forget whether it's December 28th or the 29th. So we have until that time to provide public comments unless there should be a public hearing on this matter, which will be up to, it's not the determination of DEEP right now. If excuse me, if DEEP receives a petition with 25 signatures, they're required to hold a public hearing, which would allow questions to be asked and culminate in the review of this project that costs hundreds of millions of dollars and will be the largest infrastructure project in Norwalk since I-95. And through the course of this, we've also made, we'll mention this, we've talked about the importance of protecting water quality, as well as public safety and access and other important harbor management matters. And so we're in the process and we've informed Deep about this, of coming up with recommendations to protect water quality that we would hope would be, and when we understood Deep would consider it to be put into the permit as conditions of the permit. Now, we haven't finished that because we weren't aware of what Deep's schedule was to issue this public notice. But now we have limited time to interact unless a public hearing is held. So that's what we have to decide on now, the best way to interact in this process.
How long do we have to do the 25 signatures? When do they have to be in by?
Again, by the end of the public comment period, which is the end of December.
Okay, well, we can get them.
But that, no one has made a decision yet as to whether that's what we should do. But I will say that in the draft conditions that I looked at, and maybe I can't see straight anymore, but there's nothing in there that talks about water quality monitoring during the project or any thresholds of turbidity above which the work would have to stop or the work would have to be investigated. And there's also no conditions concerning coordination with the harbor master and with the Marine Police Division. I think those are simple things that the turbidity isn't simple because we have spent quite a bit of time analyzing their data. But there are other aspects of the permit that I think we can if we can influence them, that we can make it better and better protect the public's interest in the harbor during the work, which is expected to take 5 years.
Well, when we had the meetings with them and everything, they all said it was going to be in there and everything else, and it was going to go what we said about turbidity, monitoring, and everything else. And they didn't put it in there.
Well, it would be nice to know it'd be nice to understand what the thinking was behind all of this, behind the decision and what went into the permit conditions. And we also still need to deal with the Eversource project.
Oh, I know.
So but the concern is that we've spent all of this time, some of us every day for the last 7 years, having something to do with this project. And now we have until the end of December to make public comments over the holiday period. So I think you can make a good argument that a public hearing is appropriate.
Right, I agree.
That's not up to me to say that.
No, we'll take a vote on our committee about it.
That's what I'd like to see happen. I think in general, at least Shellfish Commission, because you're meeting tonight.
Yes.
Harbor Commission meets on December 15th. That prior to that meeting, Jeff, that if you could craft the necessary paperwork for a petition for a public hearing. And then we put it out to the community, to our different commissions, and we jointly embrace this public hearing phenomenon. So it gives us time, and at our December meeting, we'll I'm sure we'll approve it, and then put the agenda item off until our following meeting in January. I think that's the course that we should do. It should be something that we jointly do.
Yes, and again, it's not an effort to hold the project up or to.
It's never been any of our intentions, but commitments were made, consultants were hired. We brought in tons of information. We sat down and actually had a meeting of the minds and how the process was going to run. And now it's ignored totally. Let's hope it was a mistake, but we have to go this course at this particular juncture.
And it's not just the Harbor Commission, Shellfish Commission. Anybody can submit a petition.
Right.
Another group that's interested that can do that as well. But anyway, that's the immediate matter for the Harbor Commission. Well, besides responding to the 2 yacht club mooring applications that you're talking about tonight, which of course, are important, but the big workload is to review the deep draft permit and how best to do that over the holiday period between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah. I agree.
That's my long-winded report, so
Oh, okay.
thank you.
Anything else, John?
No, not really. Everything else is on course. We like always, you know, you guys as well. We're all doing a lot of heavy lifting with little time and little help from outside our own resources.
You got that right. Okay, well, let's make a motion to accept the committee reports.
Make a motion to accept the committee reports.
Thanks.
Second,
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Okay. Steve, old business.
Thank you, Pete. So Eversource. So we do have a form from Eversource, our old Part D, for commentary. Mr. Cole signed the letter. I'm kind of interested that they didn't ask to appear. I mean, essentially, other than the rerouting, which in these documents is a little bit difficult to discern, that as it stands now, I think our comments remain the same as they were with the previous submission. I'd like to ask Mr. Cole to attend.
I agree. We still have the same problem what they're doing. If they pull those cables there, we can't do anything with the dock north at all. We can't put finger piers or anything in that area if they do that. And I'll tell you right now, I talked to a couple guys that do pile driving, and if they know there's cables there, they won't even go near it. They don't even want to take the chance. So that's why I'm still saying, I don't know why they didn't go on the other side. That's where everything is. Telephone's there, water's there. They all go on, all go through on that side. You're talking maybe a couple 100-foot difference, and there's already ductwork on that street anyways. So I don't know. Should we have a hearing with them?
I think he should be invited. Be interested. Go ahead, John.
I know what Pete's getting at, but Eversource is in a different, they're still in the pre-application phase. The public hearing that we're discussing with the Walk Bridge project, Deep has gone through the pre-application discussion and has published a notice of their intent to approve the application. And then there's a legal process and authorizing the public to petition for a public hearing. Eversource hasn't submitted an application to Deep yet. They're still in the pre-application phase.
We've also been assured by the city and Eversource that there'd be a siting council public hearing.
Yeah, but that's different, John. That's the siting council. So that's another part of the complicated nature of this. And when we talked with the Deep person, who's reviewing these applications, he told us that the process should work, that in his mind or opinion, that the siting council should act first on this rather than Deep, because conceivably the siting council has the ultimate authority as to whether they can do this, and then they need a permit from Deep to about how to do it. But the siting council, and I don't know that they would do this, could say you can't do it. You've got to put it in a different position, and then their application to Deep would have to be changed. But apparently, what they're doing is doing both, in a parallel way, applying to Deep as well as to the siting council. And as of a few days ago, there's nothing on the Siting Council's website to indicate that Eversource has submitted anything to the Siting Council.
Eversource is gonna submit it at the last minute, so it's an emergency. We gotta get the phones off because they're gonna be, you should change the name to Eversource, because it's a sort.
But there is a process, and our job is to make sure the process works properly, and
I know.
the public has an opportunity to understand what's going on, and the two commissions work to protect the public interest.
But Eversource doesn't care. So they're gonna try the best way that they can and say it's an emergency. It's gotta get done now, or else they can't go forward with the walk bridge.
But at some point, with the DEP process, assuming that they submit an application and it gets reviewed and it goes out to public notice, like for the walk bridge project, there would be a provision for a formal deep public hearing on that project as well. I think what Steve is talking about is just having, as a matter of good business, having the applicant, if an applicant submits a pre-application form, the applicant should come before the commission
Before both commissions.
to both commissions to present it.
I agree. Well, how many times have we invited them and they don't show up? This is the thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the way the process works is that the applicant is not supposed to submit an application until they have that pre-application consultation form
Right.
to submit with it.
And we haven't submitted one yet. And you guys haven't, have you?
No.
No.
And that's going to be something difficult to deal with at the December meeting as well, because of the time constraints.
I know. Maybe you should invite them. Try and invite them for your December meeting and we'll be there.
That's I was hoping John Pinto is tied up with a class at the medical college. He was hoping to join us tonight, but well, he's not back yet. Because
Okay.
maybe that's the response the commission should have is to write to Eversource and say we've received the consultation form, but in order to act on it, we need you to attend a meeting. We need you, or we request your attendance at a commission meeting.
Yeah. I think that would work. I mean, if they do, at least Steve and I will show up.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Steve?
Not for Eversource. So 11 Tenetta, I see Mr. Hiltz is not on the call, but he and I did a site inspection there. We owe the applicant our consultation form for that. So I'd just like to propose standard language that no objection or disqualification was noted to move the application forward fully. That any construction boats or barges potentially aground at low water must be removed for a low tide, at low tide to a mooring, and that the mooring location and technical specifications are to be approved by the Norwalk Harbor Master. No dredging applied for nor reviewed. No benthic changes applied for nor reviewed. Floating dock and ramp with winter removal and offsite storage. 18-inch float stops. A 5-foot right-of-way head clearance below the pier, just below mean high water. We note that the drawings are not officially stamped surveys, and that no vessel or structure other than piles or float stops may touch the bottom at mean low water. The use of best practices for sediment plume control and containment, including incoming and or slack tide work. And as always, the Shellfish Commission will conduct site work inspections to review compliance. I'd like to put that forward as a formal motion for 11 Tenetta Circle in Norwalk.
For a second, Steve, right?
Yes, sir.
You got a second right there. We
Thank
lost
you.
Pete.
Last page.
I'm sorry, I had a cat that was knocking everything off the cabinet.
So we have a motion and a second to 11 Teneta, essentially standard language, exactly standard language.
Okay, all in favor?
All right,
Aye. Well, that one's taken care of. Now you have the, which one?
80 and 84 Seaview. So we did a site inspection for 80 and 84 Seaview, and I'd just briefly like to say, with the lack of clarity of the encroachments on the north, west, and south side of the intended structures, that the Shellfish Commission cannot make a positive consultation at this time.
Yeah, we needed more information.
And that agrees, I believe, with respect to the Harbor Commission's commentary, but please, Jeff, John, if you have anything more to say.
I just have a question. When you were down there doing your examination, did they repave that whole lot?
Yeah, we parked on it.
Yeah,
It was all repaved, and
yes.
that should have come to us in regards of water runoff and drainage and water retention, and it never did. So I see that as an additional violation. I don't know how we address that.
The Harbor Commission found that significant parts of the proposal are inconsistent with the harbor management plan, including the encroachment into the First Street right-of-way. And then we also asked that encroachment be removed. And we also asked that planning and zoning take a look at the apparent encroachment of the deck on the north side into the adjoining property. And that was our finding on that. And that's, I don't mean to take your time. Is it possible to allow me to share my screen?
Yes.
Bill, good. Let's see if I can do this. It's sort of, can you see my screen?
Yes.
The old newspaper articles that I found and going through this, these are from 1988. And this concerns the Overton property at the time. And this is interesting because this was a fine that was ordered by the U.S. District Court for Connecticut. And the reason why we're looking at this application so carefully is that going back into the 1980s, these issues of docks going into the navigation project in East Norwalk were the reason for basically the establishment of the Harbor Management Commission to try to work on this issue. And what we'll go back, you can't read those articles, but what happened was in 1980, the Corps of Engineers came to dredge, or its contractor did, in East Norwalk, and found that the docks along the east side of the East Norwalk Basin extended into the federal channel and into the anchorage. And then the Corps decided this was an example that they had to make and to deal with it. And that's how the U.S. Attorney and the District Court got involved. And Overton's was just one of the encroaching parties. East Norwalk Boat Club had also built docks into the channel, but when they were notified of the problem, they took them back. Vantage Point had built its bulkhead into the channel. Also, Bloom Brothers Marine was there. I think they pulled theirs back voluntarily, and there were some others, the condominium there. So this was a significant matter that led to the formation of the Harbor Commission and the realignment of the boundaries of the navigation project there, with the understanding that there would be a setback in the future. So to avoid repeating history and having structures maybe go back out into that area that we spent so much time dealing with, that's why we're looking at this so carefully, and why we asked the applicant for the Seaview Avenue, the Overton site, to provide detail about where the anchorage boundary is and how far off they are. So anyway, that's, sometimes it's good to remember what history is, so you don't repeat it. But the concern that's obvious now is pretty clear, is that their dock encroaches into the extension of the city right of way at First Street. And the way we heard the proposal was that was going to be, they were going to rent the slips there, rent that space. So we commission felt it's not right to make financial gain of something that's in the city, essentially in the city's right of way.
Right.
So we'll see what happens with that.
Thanks, Jeff. So again, my motion is that we cannot provide a positive consultation due to the uncertainty associated with the northwest and south encroachments of the application.
Do I hear
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hey, Nick,
Hey.
Next, we've discussed this already tonight. I'd just like to move through this quickly in terms of a motion, open for discussion perhaps. I would like to make a motion that the Deep's tentative determination to approve the Walk Bridge application, and that a petition be submitted for a public hearing such that the Shellfish Commission would join with the Norwalk Harbor Management Commission, the Mayor's Water Quality Committee, and as requested by the Commissioner, a contact person must be assigned for the petitioners. And as part of this motion, I'd like to ask that that contact person be Chairman Dr. Pinto.
make a motion.
That is.
Okay, second it.
Second
Aye.
motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, I see Telesco Secretary has their hand up.
Yes.
Pete, I'm having a problem with the audio tonight. Steve's motion was bouncing in and out. I don't even know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I couldn't hear most of what he said. Can I get copies of his motions?
Sure, I can
I'm just
repeat
not,
it.
I just can't hear him.
I can repeat it, Sharon, if you can hear me now.
You're clearer now.
Okay, thanks. So the Shellfish Commission would like to submit a petition for a public hearing vis-a-vis the Deep tentative determination to approve the Walk Bridge construction project. And that this petition would be joined by the Harbor Management Commission, the Mayor's Water Quality Committee, and that the required contact person be Chairman Dr. Pinto.
Okay, I got that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next on my list, Pete, I have Sprite Island. I was assigned Captain Kramer. Captain Kramer had no comment with respect to Sprite Island.
I talked to Mr. Bloom. I got a call into Mr. Stabell. And they're going to send me letters on what, I guess, their opinions and what it should be. I don't think they want to add any more moorings to the areas, but they still want to have it removed in the right weather. The cat just trashed the bedroom. So they'll be giving me letters, which we will submit.
I think it'd be appropriate to open the floor to Sprite Island, Mr. Chairman, if they'd like to speak again.
Okay.
Mr. Coyle, Mr. Sparr.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate it. If I could, I just want to reiterate what we're asking for is to completely maintain what we have. We're not asking for any changes. The mooring field that we have has been in existence since 1946, I believe is the note we have. We went back to our archives. So for 75 years, we've essentially maintained this mooring field. It was larger at one point, it is smaller, but we have maintained it since. We had an original certificate of permission back in 2012 that went through Connecticut Deep, the Army Corps of Engineers. And all we are doing is, it was a 10-year term on that. We are just asking to renew it, keeping it the way it is. There's no changes to anything. We are doing a annual renewal. It happens every year, usually early October. Our team, we have people from the island and we have a workboat we use. We take the moorings out and we put them back in the spring. Usually that's, I would say, early May, before the season, before Memorial Day, to get everything back in. We maintain the field exactly as it is. So nothing has changed. And I just want to reiterate that we do have permission letters from, I have them here, bear with me one second, Norman Bloom, from Hillard Bloom, and also from Hillard Bloom. I apologize that we have three, but they're similar in nature. They all come from our last permit application. And I will add, I don't know if he's here, I invited him tonight. Harbor Commissioner Matt Gifford is a member of Sprite Island, and he is our harbor master. He places the moorings every year, and before he places them, he actually is usually on the boat with Norm Bloomer, one of his team, and they go out, and sometimes they will, they'll advise us, okay, this is our field, but we'd like you to be a little further east on our field this year, or for a little further north. And they place marker buoys beforehand, and then we go back and we place our moorings within that field. So we get their permission every year. It's a verbal agreement on top of the letter we have. I don't know if Matt is here. I invited him tonight. It was kind of last minute. I don't know if he made it. He certainly would be willing to speak on our behalf. And I asked Jeff, because Jeff Sparr, who spoke earlier, is also here, and he does a lot of our correspondence with the city. He deals with a lot of the administrative end of our mooring field. He makes sure that the bills are paid to the city and that we're in compliance with everything that has to be done. So I take any questions you gentlemen have. I would just, again, stress there's nothing changing. We've been here for a number of years, and it is just renewing exactly what we have.
Okay. Sounds fine if it's exactly what it was. Any comments from anybody? Steve?
No, sir.
I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate your consideration. And if you have anything, anybody can reach out to me at any time. Happy to speak to anyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Norwalk Yacht Club. Captain Framer did reply. He said, "Hi, my name is Tim Framer, president of the Framer Oyster Company in Norwalk, Connecticut. I would like to comment on the COP application." He gives the number for the Norwalk Yacht Club mooring field. On your new map, page 7, mooring field overlay of private shellfish beds, you show moorings on private shellfish beds. Norwalk Yacht Club moorings are not permitted on private shellfish beds. Their moorings are permitted on Norwalk's Track 2 natural shellfish bed. The Norwalk Shellfish Commission and private shellfishermen have an agreement with the yacht club where they can use the area in the summer months and the moorings are removed. We use them the rest of the year. All of the moorings are supposed to be removed. That is the agreement. If the moorings remain in year round, we cannot use the area. This would negatively affect our business. Thank you, Tim Framer.
Anything from the North Yacht Club? Would they get off?
We have Beth Kenny. Beth, you can unmute yourself.
Two participants.
Beth Kenny?
There you go.
Okay. Are there other comments? Because I'd love to address them all at once because they may be repetitive. Are there comments from other of the Shellfish Commission, Shellfish
Commissioners, no.
folks? No, shellfish owners. Okay. So I think there were a few points that were made. One is that, yes, we do show in our historic mooring field drawing where there are potential for moorings. As part of our historic COP, we would now have to ask for permission. We submitted a second drawing that shows where exactly we currently are putting moorings, and in that area, it does not overlap with any of the shellfish leases. So that addresses that. Yes, there is a drawing that shows our historic mooring field outline. We are asking for permission to have that approved. You know, it's exactly what we have had with the last approval. We have not been putting moorings there, but would like the opportunity to be able to ask for permission if we decided to do it. So we'd like to keep the outline the same as it has been historically. To the, I believe, second concern that he raised is we are asking to have to be able to leave the moorings in. We would like to ask for that. Certainly, I know Rowayton also asked for it. I didn't see minutes. I didn't see anywhere in the minutes as to whether there was a decision that they would be allowed to leave theirs in the shared field or not, but it seemed like they were going to be. So, you know, we just want to be handled the same way. We border each other. We work very closely together with Norm and Dave Zikorsky and David Lowe all work very closely together in coordinating the mooring fields. So mostly what we're looking for is the renewal of our 10-year permit as it stood the last time, with the exception of, you know, asking if we could leave some of the moorings in year round. And if the answer is no, the answer, you know, you can make that recommendation back to the Harbor Commission. I see Peter shaking his head. So if the answer is no, you can certainly make that recommendation back to the mooring, back to the Harbor Commission. And that would be on the shared bed, on the public bed portion, correct? How about the area where there are no beds?
So Beth, what I plan to do is submit Captain Kramer's letter verbatim.
Okay.
To Harbor Management and for their December 15th meeting.
Okay, and that's in response to the Rowayton application to leave their moorings in as well.
No, it's only isolated to yours. I don't believe Rowayton appeared before this commission, only Harbor.
There was a note that said that from the Harbor Commission, they did not table it, but they said that they wanted it discussed at the Shellfish Commission. It is in the notes.
Yeah, and they did not appear with us.
Okay, they're asking for the same thing we're asking for.
Mr. Romano, Mr. Stedman.
I don't remember exactly what the finalization was with the Rowayton Yacht Club, but I distinctly remember the operator that removes and installs the mooring tackling gear. He distinctly said absolutely that the gear and all the tackle would be removed throughout the whole field, even though they were asking to do it that way. And their ask was based on the fact, from a timing standpoint, they ran into issues about getting them out quickly enough at the end of the season.
Right, and we have, I said the exact same thing at the Harbor Commission meeting, that it's a timing issue. And that we certainly would take them out, but it is a timing issue. So if we could expand the dates perhaps, but their wording in their permit is exactly the same as ours is. We worked, the two clubs, Dave Zatorsky works with, I mean, the two clubs work very closely together.
I don't know if we've actually finalized anything at Harbor. We need to readdress it. Jeff, do you have,
I mean, I don't want to throw Rowayton under the bus, but I just think that it's important that we're all,
I mean, big picture all around, it's a requirement for everyone. Whether it's the other moorings that we approve in different areas throughout the town and the application, they must be removed. And I don't know why we would even consider varying off of that requirement.
No.
Because it's a requirement at large. Jeff?
Well, the requirement for the periodic renewal goes back, to the Harbor Management Plan, which was a request by the Harbor Management Commission in order to just look at these, rather than having the permits for the mooring fields be issued indefinitely. It was the Harbor Commission's request going back 30 years almost that any permits for these areas be subject to periodic renewal, to allow just the sort of discussion that we're having now. If the shell fishermen have something to say, or anyone else does. With the Rowayton Yacht Club, we looked at that during the meeting on September 22nd and wrote a letter of October 1 expressing no objection, with the understanding that the Bureau of Aquaculture had no objection, and that it would affect no shellfish beds through what was being asked, and that the Shellfish Commission be provided an opportunity by DEEP to express any comments that they might have about this. That
Right.
there wasn't the same level of discussion that came up during the commission's meeting. So if Rowayton Yacht Club was treated a little bit differently, it wasn't in an effort to,
not
treat anybody
whatsoever.
differently. It was just based on the discussions we had at that meeting. The
Yeah,
other
well, we weren't
consideration-
aware of private
Yeah.
agreements with the shellfish
Right. Well,
lease lessees, that they had private agreements with these different,
right, but no matter what, there's a private entity that has a property interest that's affected by a license that's subject to renewal. So it's just logical and reasonable that we'd afford those private ownership interests a chance to comment.
Correct.
Even if what's being proposed within the larger field, you could be argued it doesn't affect them. But the other consideration is, when we talked about with DEEP, DEEP is prepared to issue these approvals. So DEEP was at the Harbor Commission's request, was able to extend or extend their review of this to allow the Shellfish Commission to discuss this tonight and get comments to DEEP. But they were not agreeable, at least on the phone, to extending the period until the December meeting of the Harbor Commission, which may mean that in order for the Harbor Commission to have a formal comment, we may have to convene a special meeting next week to express no objection or whatever comments that we want to have. But we talked about this with DEEP, and they agreed. They were prepared to issue these two COPs, but they agreed to hold off on that to allow the Shellfish Commission to discuss them tonight. So now we have to figure out how the Harbor Commission deals with this next week.
right.
I did want to say one thing, if I may. I do want to be very clear that we are not asking for any change in the private bed areas at all. We're not asking for, nothing has changed with the private shellfish beds in our request.
But you're talking about natural beds, though.
Yes, we are talking about perhaps leaving them a little bit longer in the natural beds. It's that whole area that Rowayton and Norwalk have. So, But we would continue to take them out, just an expanded time period is the plan. And it sounds like that was what Rowayton also said.
Sorry to interrupt again, but the other part of this issue too is that certificates of permission applications are not required to be sent to the Shellfish Commissions by an applicant. DEEP does not require that. The applicant is required to submit the application to the Harbor Management Commission, but not the Shellfish Commission. So the extent the Shellfish Commission gets involved with this is it's either because it's referred to them by the Harbor Commission, or you learn about it in another way. But you still have the right and the opportunity to comment on it, because the Shellfish Commission is the responsible manager of the natural beds. So your comments are certainly important and valid in the DEP process.
Yeah, so we send our comments to you and you put in what you want.
Right.
But this is going to require, if the Harbor Commission is going to provide a formal comment, I think we're going to have to schedule a special meeting for next week, just on this topic.
Right.
And will that include for all public shellfish beds? So that would include Rowayton as well.
Yes.
Well, let's think. That can be brought up at the special meeting, but you're arguing that somehow we singled out and it was no intent to treat.
No, I'm arguing that it was.
Than the Norwalk Yacht Club at all. There's just
No.
Came up when the Norwalk Yacht Club application was reviewed that weren't brought up during the review of the Rowayton Yacht Club. But I agree that there should be consistency in the way the two are treated.
Oh, I agree too.
If I may, to be clear, I was not making any accusations at all. I appreciate the time and the effort that you gentlemen put in, Harbor Commission. I think we all have the same goals. What gets tight is getting the moorings in and out in the time frame that is documented, and I think that is what Norm Edwards was talking about, and what we are. And so that was what we're really looking for, is some leeway in getting them in and out. And from our perspective, there is a portion of our mooring field that is in no shellfish, not even the public shellfish beds. And if we could leave those till the very end, that would be very helpful, so that's really what we were looking for. Obviously, the most important thing is getting our approval. And that's what's the most important thing. We've pulled them out for decades and we'll continue to do it. And we'll do it in the schedule if required. I think everybody knows that one of the issues with the schedules is when we have a fall like this one, where we had 3 or 4 tough storms and some family tragedies, it becomes a little difficult to get all those moorings out of that field by the end of October. So we do the best job we can, and we certainly work from the south side up. And honestly, our guys all work together with most of the shellfish folk, and I think the last 10 years we've done pretty well. So.
Okay.
Any other questions for me? Jeff?
Yeah, if you don't mind, you mentioned, Ms. Kenny, that you provided a revised map or a revised drawing showing that to address the comment that the sort of the generalized map showed X's all over the entire mooring field. But did you say you submitted a revised drawing to show that there would be no?
Jill did the day after the Harbor Commission to
Okay.
the chairman.
I must have missed that then. I'm sorry.
No, that's, yeah. Do you need us to send it another one?
I'll I'll check to see if I have a copy of it.
And if anyone has any questions or anything for me offline, I'd be happy to answer them. Online, offline, as things come up. I've sat on many boards myself, and I know it's at an active love, so I appreciate that.
I don't have an email from Ms. Pietropalo. Maybe she sent it to Dr. Pinto. I'll check, but you might send it again to the Harbor Commission.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
I don't mind at all.
Thank you.
I'd be happy to do that. And if you need to have a special meeting and need someone there, let us know.
Thank you. Thank you very much for providing all this information.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. We're really trying, we are really trying. So, good.
Clarifies it a lot better. Steve?
Yeah, so we had two cams, one for 66 George's Hill and one for 19 South Beach Drive. And we normally don't see these, but Mr. Mooney kindly forwarded them on to me to take a look at. I see that neither one had waterward structure. So I just wanted to talk to Bill now, just in terms of what the process is. I mean, how he received them from zoning, and I think we should probably discuss what to do from here if we're getting these newly. I don't remember them coming through Tom's office.
Yeah, they came directly to me, and I just, because it's a coastal area management review, I thought it would go to you. So maybe I just, inferred that incorrectly, but I didn't want to not do it and have it be an issue. So when they come to me in the future, I can regret these.
No, not at all, Bill. I mean, it's great. What I'd recommend maybe is when they come in, perhaps to forward them on to me, to Pete, to the commission, and copy Chairman Romano, Chairman Dr. Pinto, and Mr. Stedman, just to make sure that they got them as well. And obviously, if there is a waterward structure, I'll flag it, and then you and I can talk about adding it to the agenda.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I'll
Thank you.
make sure it happens for going forward.
Thank you, Bill. That's great. Last thing I have, Mr. Chairman, is 72 Shorefront Park. Mr. Hiltz represents an applicant there for a 125-foot total encroachment pier, ramp, and floating dock structure. I would suggest that due to the length of the structure proposed and the Spartina in the area, that this is a essential candidate for a site visit. And I'd like to move to table our consultation pending a site visit along with at least one member of the Harbor Management Commission.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's it.
All I have.
That's it?
Gentlemen, can I ask one quick question? It's Carson
Yes.
Coyle.
Yes.
I'm sorry. First of all, thank you very much for your time tonight. I appreciate it. I just wanted to ask Mr. Stedman quickly, because you mentioned there might be a meeting next week. Would that also involve Sprite next week?
Yes, that would be my understanding, because the commission did not submit a comment on Sprite, but
Correct.
rather said that we would wait to hear a comment from the Shellfish Commission. So
Okay.
I think that if the commission has a special meeting, it should be would include Sprite as well.
All right. I appreciate that. We were planning for the 15th. If that comes to fruition, I assume I would get some notification?
Yes.
Okay. I'm traveling next week, so if someone could let me know, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Aaron. Our next meeting is going to be January 6th, 2022.
Hey, Pete, your holiday party you used to have, it was great.
Yes.
And It's been a while since we have it because of COVID and so on. I mean, even if we don't do it before Christmas, I think, the commission should think about it. Maybe after.
What I was thinking of doing is, Steve and I talked about it. I'm gonna check with, Norkin like we normally do. And, maybe we'll have one after New Year's.
That'll be good. I mean,
We'll have a meeting first and I'll get the dates that are available and then we'll set it up that way.
all right, that's good.
It'll be our late Christmas party.
Steve, those visits, if you do it in the afternoon, low tide, that's what I'm expecting you're gonna do it. Just let me know. I will be there.
Thank you. Coach.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Second motion. Second,
Okay.
Everyone enjoy their holidays, guys.
you
Yep.
too, man. Take
Yeah.
care all.
Happy holidays to all.
See you in January.
Take care of yourself, Peter. Don't do anything silly.
I don't. I only got one kidney. I can't.